Starting a personal brand is fucking hard, right? And yet also so easy. So let me explain a little bit about what I mean with that, also from a personal point of view. So it's fucking hard because you have a lot of self-limiting beliefs in your mind, right? That people won't accept you for who you are, that you will be ridiculed, you will be made people make fun of you, people will dislike you, whatever. And so, however ridiculous this fear might appear to be, it's just a fact that, like, we know for a fact that public speaking, at some study, they said that public speaking was almost more feared by people than dying, right? So, that is a thing, just putting yourself out there for social and public judgment from a peer group of people is something that's very, very scary to people, right? There's almost a barrier. It's like a tense. You can through that barrier of resistance. You can feel it like in the air around you. I don't know how to explain it, but it can be so hard to fucking overcome. And I don't know if you ever felt like this, but I most certainly do. And I'm not known to be like fearful or afraid of doing anything, right? It's not, but still, there's this resistance. I will give you that there's like a reason for this in my instance because I have somewhat of a past, and I'm not going to harp on that right now because it's completely irrelevant for this conversation and what you might get out of it. But in my case, there is an actual external reason for why I didn't go public before and build my personal brand. And I used that as an excuse for a long period of time. But there hasn't really been an excuse for the last 8 months. I still didn't execute on it, right? And then you end up in this learning loop of endless preparation. Like, I have to prepare, I have to have everything in order. What's my brand messaging, my positioning? How do I want to appear to people? Who do I want to connect with? And all that makes it seem very, very difficult, right? So you postpone it, you procrastinate, you tell yourself that you are upgrading your skill set and your knowledge surrounding it. And in my case, this it's fucking laughable because I'm a coach and I'm a consultant, and one of the things I actually do is advise clients as to how to build their personal brand, right? And haven't really done it myself, not publicly, right? I am known in certain circles for my skills, and people tend to like me, but a public brand, right? That's where the money is. Because here's the thing: you can get caught up in all types of different types of funnels and ad campaigns and outreach, different type of outreach or outbound marketing. And it's all good, right? It all works. But the thing that's most long-term sustainable for you and your business and your life, right, is actually creating a name for yourself. And the personal brand, the public's perception of us and who we are and our willingness to go out there, put ourselves out there as a leader and that someone can connect with, um, you won't find anything that's more valuable than this. Before in history, you didn't really have the possibility to create a brand for yourself or be known by a lot of people unless you were like royalty or came from a privileged background. But right now we have social media, right? And so one of the big things that is so wonderful with social media and the technological revolution is that everybody has access to media, and that means that everybody can create a personal brand. And the thing is, and now we're going to get to why it's so incredibly easy, right? If you just take that jump. And that is that, no, let me just quickly. So, the importance of a personal brand, right, is also that people buy from people. So, whatever funnel type of structure you have, whatever outreach type of structure you have, whatever it is you got going on in your business, right? How you acquire your clients, your leads, your customers, everything gets enhanced by a personal brand. And whether you know it or not, you have a name, right? Because people buy from who they trust, people buy from who they know, people buy from people, right? It's not the fucking funnel. And if you look at all the major people, the biggest players in this world, beneath it all is a personal brand, right? And so you might see someone promoting like this magic funnel or this magic website type or cold email or whatever it is, right? As being the be and end all solution to how they make their money. But in a lot of the cases, most of the cases, you also see that they have a social media channel, multiple of them, like they have a podcast, they have a newsletter, that they're on Facebook, they're on TikTok. So underlying everything is like your public ID, right? Your personal brand. So that's why it's so incredibly important to build it and build it as soon as possible. Like if there's one piece of life advice that you can give anyone at a very young age, it's just basically go out and build yourself a brand, a personal brand. And now we're going to get to why it's so incredibly easy. Because like you can get caught up in like positioning and portraying a personal image and yada yada yada. That's not what we're talking about. You're not the spokesperson of a major company or some shit like that, right? What we're talking about here is you being brave enough and willing to just go out there and not think in terms of creating content for other people, but in terms of documenting your journey and sharing who you are, right? And that takes, you have to be able to be vulnerable and make mistakes and failures and share them, right? And sit in front of a camera like me right now and saying that we're actually a little bit scared putting yourself out there, right? Scared of rejection, right? And that might not resonate well with your ego, how you would like yourself to be. So it's kind of an incongruence. So it's also about becoming congruent with yourself and not being afraid that to put yourself out. Now we need privacy. We all need a private life, right? But the more you can share about yourself, where you are in your current life situation, where is you're trying to get to, how you are approaching crossing that bridge or closing that gap between where it is you are and where you want to go, your thoughts around it, your feelings around it, your actions, what you're trying out, what you're doing, what you're learning, right? All of that, just put it out there, right? So incredibly easy when you don't think in terms of creating content, but just sharing your life and documenting what it is you do. It's almost like a public journal, right? Where you might edit a little bit out of there, right? And just put it out there. And then think in terms of the things you share should be aligned with your objective, showing who you are and why you do what you do, and then also what it is you do and how you do it to show your expertise or your skills or what it is you're in search for, right? And what you really want to do in this whole process is you need to be consistent, right? It's like a journal doesn't work if you don't write in it every single day, right? Because in reality, you are not creating a brand because creation means that you are sitting yourself down and you're kind of engineering something or putting something together and then here it is. That's not how it is. Also, the content you need to put out there for your personal brand, you shouldn't be thinking in terms of sitting down and creating it and putting it out there. You should be thinking in terms of growth, right? By you grow your personal brand, right? And your content should come from the growth that you're experiencing, right? That's all it is. You grow a brand by growing yourself, right? And the way you grow yourself is by creating the life for yourself that you want to live, right? It's very simple once you start to think in those terms. And then what happens is, and this is the second reason for why it's so incredibly easy once you get into this, and that is that the algorithm today, right, is moving from being network based, which means that it pushes content to who you know, This will still be a factor, but it's moving more towards a interest-based algorithm, right? It works so incredibly well for TikTok. So now all major platforms are moving to become interest-based in how it pushes content, right? And that's incredibly valuable for you right now if you want to start building and creating and growing a personal brand, because it means that the size of your followers doesn't matter to the same degree that it does before. You could put a video out there being yourself that connects with people and it can go viral, right? It also means that the algorithm is now very, very, very good at showing you and connecting you to the people that align with your interest, right? And so that means if you put yourself out there and share who you are on a consistent basis, because it takes some time for the algorithm to kind of pick up on the general theme of your content, right? You need to kind of seed it with material and context, right? It needs to be calibrated. But then what happens is you will get in front of people that are like-minded, right? And that means that you will naturally attract people that vibe with you or correspond with your values or has the same interests. And that means ultimately, because people buy from people predominantly, that you have like the greatest possibility in history ever seen before to connect with your ideal customers that you would actually like to work together with because you have common interests that's aligned very, very easily, right? It's almost as if you put yourself out there through a personal brand, that the algorithm does the screening process for you that you otherwise had to put in place before in your funnels and in your application forms and stuff like that, right? Or on a sales call. So it's almost as if you have the possibility to connect with a pre-frame in terms of common interest audience that you can build. And then by putting yourself out there and showing who you are, what you do, why you do it, right? Your values, your beliefs, and how you do it, your expertise, how you do it, and what it is you do is also your offer, right? Put all of it out there. What you're working with, what you're doing. That means you can pre-sell to those ideal customers that the algorithm is now pushing towards you. This is, of course, if you are thinking in terms of building a business, and that's why I'm primarily speaking to people that actually have or run a business or act in the capacity of a coach or consultant or any such type. I'm not talking to YouTubers where it's more about, getting a lot of views and building a huge following, right? This is not it. This is, that's one aspect of social media. Another aspect is that you can have a tiny, tiny little fucking social media presence, but because it's the ideal people that are perfectly aligned with who you are and what it is you provide, you can make a lot of money and grow a very long-term sustainable business because you also get to work with the right people, right? So growing or building or starting a personal brand is fucking hard, right? But you just need to get over it, right? And so let me give you a couple of tips for that. Number one is you need to get clear on like what it is you want to achieve, right? Your goal. You need to have some type of vision for your life because we like to follow people that are on a journey towards something, right? People that are completely aimless in life and there's no story in that, man. People connect with stories, right? We like to hear stories. We like movies, books, whatever. We learn through stories, right? It's just a fact. So you need to have a story, which means that you need to have like a goal or objective or some sort of thing that you are moving towards, right? Then you need to have like a clear set of reasons for why you are moving toward that thing, what you're trying to escape from, right? What you're trying to arrive at, what you're trying to escape from, right? And you need to have those things clear at mind, right? Just define it. It's not that hard, man. What's your current situation that you really wanna, grow or evolve or enhance or move out from towards whatever goal, right? And then there's the journey in between. And that's the problems you need to solve. It's the challenges you're facing. It's the obstacles, right? And those are the stepping stones and the journey that you need to document by just sharing your thoughts surrounding it, what it is you're learning, your vision, right? Your failures, your wins, how you help other people, your emotions around it, right? And your actions. It's so very simple, right? And then obviously, because yeah, this is not it's a framework for what the three things people really think about is what it is they want and what it is they don't want, how they are going to get it, and how life will be once they are there. And so from that perspective, you can speak from all of these three points of view very simply, right? What it is you want, what it is you don't want, pro and con, whatever, how you think that you are going to go to where it is you want to go, how you're going to get it, right? The things you're trying out, testing, learning, sharing your experience, what it is you can actually do, the skills you have, knowledge, and then how life is once you get to that place. And you will always be further ahead on that journey than someone else, right? Doesn't matter who you are. It depends on you are never at ground zero. There's always going to be someone that would like to be in your situation, right? There's no end to growth, human growth and development. There's no end to the life's journey, which also means that there will always be some people out there that are further behind you on that journey that you can help. And because you're growing and building and creating a personal brand, putting yourself out there, well, that means that's a very easy framework for how you ultimately want to attract people that are like you, that are aligned with your visions and your goals. And that means that there's a very simple framework for how to communicate freely and openly. And that is instead of thinking about your ideal customer or who you want to attract, your audience, whatever, think in terms of yourself in present moment, in the future, and in the past. So if I'm sharing what it is I have learned and earned like this, right? I just imagine that I'm talking to my former self and I'm sharing the knowledge that I now have that he would wish that he had. I'm sharing my life lessons and my knowledge and how to do things with my former self. Very simple. Another thing is in the present moment, right? I can be talking to my future self, telling my future self about my vision for the future, what it is I'm aspiring to achieve, my desire. And then I can kind of move into that future self frame and reply to myself, right? So that will give you like a flow of, how you imagine your future would be. You could also move, kind of imagine that you have moved into that future accomplished ideal state of yourself where you have accomplished some major milestone. And then you can speak advice to your present self, right? Just act as if you have already accomplished what it is you set out to accomplish and speak to your present self, right? And that's a very, very easy way to create content. Just talk to yourself. And when the algorithm pushes it out, it will attract people that align with you. Now, a last piece of advice on this journey of yours, because we're kind of moving into psychological or mental frameworks for internal communication with yourself. And there's a little bit of a performance aspect in this. And so we tend to kind of be quite harsh on ourselves, right? Things we have like, and sometimes we have a very destructive internal dialogue where we say, I am so and so, or I should so and so. So we're kind of harsh on ourselves, right? Because we're trying to get ourselves to do something, right? So I should also do this and that, and why didn't I do it? And blah blah blah. You fucking idiot! You stupid retard! Shit like that. It's in my head all the time. Now, when you become aware of that, a very easy way to encourage yourself to move forward, this is a mental technique that's highly effective, is to imagine that you are your future self, right? Move yourself into that frame of your future idealized self that has accomplished what it is you're trying to accomplish, right? And then speak to your present self the way a loving father would speak to his son. Loving father, caring father, right? Strict, stern, telling his son what he needs to do, right? To grow up and become an independent individual and, achieve the things that he wants to achieve in life in that tone of voice. So, because that means you can give yourself direction and commands and push yourself forward a little bit. But from an external perspective, you transport yourself into that future frame or that separate frame. So you are not talking with yourself. Your present self is disassociated from yourself. And you are talking to that version of yourself. And the way you do this is, instead of saying, fuck me, I'm so fucking stupid, I know I should do XYZ, then you enter that frame and you say, listen, Casper, you very well know that you should have started your personal brand a long time ago. So take that step, man. You can do it. Talk to myself from that point of view. I'm giving myself direction. Very, very simple framework that can really also clean up your internal dialogue and remove some of that destructive, negative internal dialogue that can really fuck over your not your confidence, but because that comes from being certain at your capability to do something, but more like your self-worth. Or yeah, and we all make mistakes and we all feel shitty and we never do as much as we set out to do, and we are beautiful, wonderful, incomplete, failure-ridden, perfect human beings. It's just a fact. This is Casper SK. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe, like, whatever, all that jazz. I'll probably reverse engineer this into a guide that you can download in the description. If you would like to work with me, feel free to reach out, send me a DM on either Facebook or Instagram, and there'll probably be some links in the description for how we can work together. So I'm signing off, and I hope you have a wonderful day.